Hey everybody, I'm
Hey.
Sharon Hoffman.
Hi, guys, and I'm Chris Newth. Hi, welcome to the live stream. We are live. We're talking manifesting again today. Sharon,
And
how
this
you
is
doing?
this is Happy and Wise. So
This is
welcome
Happy and
back to
Wise.
Happy and Wise.
Yes.
And yeah, so we're here because we met on Clubhouse, and I'm all about guiding people to lead from the wisest part of themselves.
Yes,
And Chris?
and I'm here to help people understand their emotions better. It's the key to life. Truly, whatever you want, understand your emotions and you can accomplish anything. That's what we're going to actually talk about today. Manifesting. I love the topic.
Part
It's
two,
popular.
right?
Yes, yes, yes. This is part 2.
And that's
Um
because really more people tuned in. So this is a hot topic, right?
Yeah, people love, man. I love it. Like, it's
Yeah.
truly one of my favorite things to talk about because we have these cool goals and dreams in mind. And it's as someone who has accomplished a lot of my goals and dreams in the past, it means a lot to me to help to like share that what worked for me. And I'm always also looking for like different cheat codes and different tips that can help me continue on this journey because our life is a never ending manifested result after manifested result after manifested result. How can you approach it in a way that makes it easy and flowy and enjoyable? So that's what we're going to talk about today, just different tips.
Yeah, and
um
no matter how much you know about this topic, because I think a lot of people know quite a bit, it's always good to spend time dwelling here. And like for me, I think it's a good reminder just for us to talk about it. Don't you,
yeah,
Chris?
oh absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And there's so many pieces and we can go to so many different places within the topic. So
Yeah.
hitting on our emotions, hitting on our approach, hitting on how we're thinking and our beliefs, hitting on how to follow our intuition, all of these things, believing in ourselves and believing in our dreams, all of it comes into play. So it's a very like wide spectrum. Where should we start today, Sharon?
Well, you mentioned that we got, a fantastic comment and question. How about if we start there? Because this is, one of our regular participants in Clubhouse, and
Yes.
now tunes into our live streams here as well. And I should say we're on my Facebook page, Sharon Hoffman, and Chris Newth's YouTube channel, dual
Hmm.
streaming. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. So,
So yeah.
Sakina had posted a very lengthy post comment talking about she's trying to manifest something in her life and she wants to work in the TV world, which and on a very specific in a very specific like show, and I can relate to that as someone who
Yeah,
wanted
that's
to
very
do that,
familiar, isn't it? Yeah.
for my adventures on Conan. And
Sure.
but I've noticed some things in her comment that it's kind of I can there's some
You wanna suggest a
sticky.
few tweaks, right?
Let's tweak this because yeah,
Yeah.
there's obviously a lot of resistance to it. Basically, I can't read the whole thing, but it just as a story about how she's tried to so many different avenues to try to get a specific letter to a specific person. And the thing that
With
hit
with
me
with what goal,
with the
ultimately?
goal, I believe, of getting to hopefully work on a TV show that she wants to work
Yeah.
on.
Okay, so this is like a classic situation. Who hasn't been there in a place where you want something so badly you can taste it and you just
Hmm.
know you're the right person to be doing this thing, whatever it is, just like you knew about Conan, right?
Hmm.
And it's so tempting, isn't it? When we feel this so strongly to move forward into action because we're up here figuring out how to make it happen. If
Right.
I do this, if I get a letter into this person's hands, that'll be my shot, right?
Hmm.
And we're here to clarify something about the manifesting process that makes it so much easier than that, which is get out of your head, okay? And it's really the first part is to have a clear vision of where you imagine yourself to be,
Hmm.
right? It
Hmm.
may not be about that show even. It may be about just being a presence doing voiceover work or whatever it is you're after, or any of us is after,
Hmm.
and to get into a real feel good state
Hmm.
and then just wish for that and then let it go. Just
And let
let
your
it go.
intuition guide you to the answers, to the moves. There's a lot of that story, Sakina, that is very like you can tell clearly having a hard time with this. Like it's a case of trying really hard. There's a lot of like resistance. There's a lot of effort. There's a lot of like hitting wall after wall, and there's
That's where you
frustration.
know it's you're
That's when you know
you're
that's
getting
not the
colder.
path. That's not the path. And
It's not the
just
path.
knowing like and knowing that, because here's the thing, when we're trying to first of all, focusing too much, Sharon, you've talked about this before, focusing too much on how things are going to happen, like
Right.
trying to force that.
Yeah.
No,
And
don't
here's
do
what
that.
you can replace it with
Yeah.
is, in addition to following your intuition was absolutely on point, right? We want to
Yeah.
wait till we get a really inspired thought, not till we make something up in our mind that we're sure is going to be the right path. Because
Right.
what can unfold can be so much better and so much more filled with ease, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So then the trick is to stay in a feel good state, feel in a state of just appreciation for everything that you have now.
Mhm.
Because being a manifester is about appreciating exactly what you have.
Right.
And when you wish for things and then you let them go, you're just like a magnet attracting them. It's when we're like, oh, I want it so bad. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. It's where we are banging our head against a wall because we're up here in our heads trying to figure it out instead of
Right.
releasing it and letting go. And it's sort of like if you open your arms, like, I trust in this process. I don't
Right.
have to do the heavy lifting here. It is
Right.
such a relief, actually. Doesn't that feel better? To
Yeah.
just open your arms wide rather than clutching, like we have a
Right.
tendency to do. I mean,
Right.
I've done it so many times. And the trick, I think, is to catch ourselves when we're doing that and then be like, oh, wait a minute, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes,
So what else
absolutely.
you
And
got? I know you have other thoughts about this.
yeah, some thoughts about this, just because,
Yeah.
we've talked to Sakina about this in Clubhouse too. But just to like emphasize for anyone new who might be watching, just that idea of think about the logic, and this goes back to the logic of how manifesting works. When we're trying to, let's say, struggle or effort or push or
Yeah.
grind or try really hard or force things, we're coming at it from a negative headspace. And negative headspaces are full of like warped thinking, like twisted logic, doesn't make the best impressions on people. And so when you are trying to operate from that place, imagine the other person like involved. If someone were to like, let's say someone got a letter that was like, that had some like this kind of like negative energy to it. Like there's some negative, like, some desperation or some neediness or that kind of thing. It's a turnoff to people. And so, but we try to do these things because I know we want them so bad. We want our dreams. We want to live our dreams.
And
And
can I
that's,
stick in a comment right here about what you're
yeah,
saying?
please,
Because
please.
whenever there is some desperation that comes forward, whether it's in the tone of voice or it's in writing, it says, I'm feeling a lack of. So
Mhm.
it's the opposite of the state of mind we need to be in
Right,
to
right,
create what we really want. That just creates more of what we don't want. We're focused
right.
on, I'm in lack, I'm feeling desperate, and it's showing through my tone of voice or my writing style or something. And that's where we can have a check on ourselves, right?
Right, right, right. And you want to make the best impressions with everybody. Like you want to make good impressions, you want to carry good energy. And I personally think the best way to go about, like if I were in your situation, Sakina, I would seek what brought me joy. Like what is find the real reason, the authentic reason that you want to work in television or in voiceover or in that world. Like why are you passionate about that? Is it the craft? Is it acting? Is it voice? Is it playing with your voice? And then you can use those to start making moves in that world. Like practice your craft, get really good at it, talk in a way where you're so like, where your conversations are not about how you're going to get here or there or talk to this person, but how you love this world of voice or of acting or of performance. And that way, when you're talking in those kind of ways, when you bump into people who naturally know each other in the world of TV, when you're talking about the craft, that's way more likely to
You
have
light up,
better
right?
effects.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because it's like, because that's what ultimately, if someone were to want to hire someone on a show, whether it's an actor or whatever, like they're looking for people who are so passionate about their craft that that is what they're fixated on. That is what they talk about. That is what they're living and breathing, is that. And so if you're not talking about like what your passion is for this reason, and it's just for some outcome that you maybe hope to get someday, there's an emptiness about that other people can sense and feel, and it doesn't help you move towards your dream. So I would just consider, like, what is the actual feeling that you're going for? What is it that you're actually in love with and that you're enjoying and that you're passionate about? And then focus on there, and don't worry about how things are going to turn out. And the other attached part to this is, you have one, if you have one single like direction where you're like, I want to do this, like I want to take this action or something, you are ignoring the vast majority of other potential outcomes that are way more likely to actually work and help you. So if you keep bumping your head against the wall, like that's not the right direction to take. Open your mind, as Sharon, you were saying, to allow you to be in headspaces of your fun, your love, your passion, your enjoyment, your excitement, and then let those headspaces like float in those for days, weeks, and just see what comes to you, and follow the little intuitive impulses that you get. And it will lead you to some really cool things, but it won't necessarily be a direct path. It's going to be like, it'll kind of bring you around, it'll kind of like
Or
loop around. It won't
or
look like,
or
oh,
it may
how
be
is
a POW. Like we just don't know how it happens, right?
right.
For instance, I I talked about, I think, this breakup with a boyfriend
Mm,
where I needed to find another place to live, and I didn't just move. I waited for just the right place.
mhm.
And I told that story, right?
Yes.
So then when I moved, I needed to start working. So some work had come to an end. I needed some new work. And I'm going to connect what you're saying with this story, which
Mhm.
is that I was feeling so good because I didn't settle. I really waited and got the right place. It was so lined up for me. I was in a very joyful state, and I was just setting up my house, and then in my mind, as I'm feeling really good, and
Mhm.
I thought, okay, now would be the perfect time to have some project work come my way.
Mm.
And about a week later, out of the blue, the phone rang, and somebody I had worked with quite a while before had remembered me in a conversation we'd had and said, "Hey, the company's growing. I want you to come in and help us grow this company."
Mm.
And boom, I had a job. Like
Whoa.
I
Yeah.
didn't do anything.
Unexpected. It kind of like
Yeah.
popped out. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it did. And all I did was focus on my joy, and that was first through my housing. And then it was just this thought, this would be perfect timing. And then it came to me. That's how
Yes.
strong that magnetic pull can be. And so
Right. Right.
the thing is, the source of it's good to hold on to why you want a certain thing, right? Like you were
Mhm.
saying, Chris, what emotional state of being will that bring you? Let's
Right.
just
Right.
say, for example, it's joy, okay, because it
Yeah.
was really lined up. Now it's important to you let it go, you put the wish out, and then you keep staying in joy, not thinking, I got to try really hard to get this thing, but what else is going to bring me joy? It may be, walking barefoot in the park, spending a day at the beach. And these things may sound like frivolous things, but they're not. Because if
Right.
they're what makes your heart sing, you're keeping yourself in a joyful state. And then the things that just come up in your mind's eye, they
Yes.
come to us. Or the piece you were touching on, you get the intuitive impulse, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not something you made up or thought about and had a hard time with. It's just something that, poof, there it is.
Yep.
And it resonates. Somehow there's a resonance inside.
Yeah.
And so that's, again, this magnetic force of this thing is coming. And it may be about reaching out to a certain person. Who knows what it is? It could be
That
anything.
could be different. That could always change and be different.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It's like, sit in the feeling and sit in
Mhm.
the headspace that when you get the feeling. And let's talk about this one last thing, and then I want to bring in Alina,
Yes, we have a guest
who's
who's back.
waiting. Um, It's important when we ponder our goals and dreams to sit in the feeling, to really feel out what that feels like. What good feeling is it bringing you? Is it excitement? Is it joy? Is it love? Is it passion? Is it peace? Like, what is the feeling that you get if you imagine yourself having the dream that you have? You're literally living the dream now that you have in your mind. What feelings does that evoke in you, in your body? And sit in those feelings, really sit in the feelings. And what that's doing, and the reason why that's so important, is because when you're feeling, our emotions are a response to our thoughts, right? We have a thought. Neuroscience also like points this out too. You have a thought, and then you have an emotional reaction to that thought. You have a thought, and then you have an emotional reaction. That's just the order of operations. So when you get a feeling, you know that that feeling is telling you that your headspace is right on vibe with your dream. That is, you're floating on the mental, emotional wavelengths that will most help you think in the way to get your dream, talk in the way to help you get your dream, make choices in your life that will help you get your dream. And so when you are operating from a place that is connected with that feeling on that kind of high vibe level, you're logically going to start making choices, operating, making decisions, taking action that is with high quality ideas, with high quality like choices, and saying things and carrying the kind of energy that is going to um, attract the right people and impact people and influence them in the ways that can help you. So just keep in mind the importance of the feeling in all of this, because it's super, super, super important. Yoni's here. Hi, Yoni. Welcome.
Oh, great. Hi, Yoni. And here's the thing that I want to add to this, because this is such an important part of it, is what many people do is they're caught up in the headspace. Now, the seed of creation is in the mind, but that's really different than getting caught up in I have to figure it out.
Right.
And so we have to get out of that habit. That's a really bad habit. The piece about being able to tune into our emotions, that's not possible unless we connect head and heart. And then listening for that gut instinct that says, this thing is my inspired thought. That is now the gut. So I learned this years ago when I was being taught Aikido, the Japanese martial art of peace. You cannot perform that martial art successfully unless you connect head, heart, and gut. It is an essential part of that practice, and it's
alignment.
It's a real way to live life. It's so important. Yes, that alignment where we're really connected and listening to all of those centers in us. But I think what happens so often is we're conditioned to believe that everything happens in the intellect, as in figuring things out, doing equations, making sense of it, having it make sense on paper. It's a figuring thing. And this is, let go of that. That is, there's a deeper truth, which
if it feels bad, let go of that. If it for some reason feels good,
anybody who's only using their headspace is using a tiny piece of the knowledge centers that we have. We have access through intuitive knowing, body-based knowing, empathic knowing, heart-based knowing. There are many channels. And so
if it feels good though, it's telling you you're not just using your head. It also means your heart is involved and connected. So then that's a good way to access.
Well, if you're doing that, you're registering. What is my body telling me?
Right.
What is my emotional state telling me? So when those things are registering with that stuff is happening all the time. But if sometimes we gloss over it, right? So yeah, absolutely. When we're getting the information.
Yoni says, don't be in the habit of being a hobbit in your head. I love that.
Yes. Thanks, Yoni. Yeah, that's so good. So, I mean, I listen, I relate. I'm making this point so strongly because I was birthed into a head-based family and was taught that was the only source of knowledge. And so if that's all we're relying on, we're really using this much.
We're missing a big piece.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of a missing piece, I think we're missing Alina. Alina, welcome to Happy and Wise. Welcome to the live stream. Thanks for being here.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Hi. So great to have you back, Alina. You've been here multiple times and on many Clubhouse shows. So
time, I'll tell you that.
What's that?
It's always a good time.
Oh, well, we
Alina,
have fun with you.
oh yeah, yeah. Alina, you're always a great conversation. What's in your mind today? We're talking manifesting. Anything come to mind for that for you?
Yes, I think I have a question that probably aligns perfectly with the topic. And the question,
Ooh.
how do you stay super consistently in belief, right? So like
Hmm.
on any given topic, right? It could be the topic of relationship, the topic of wealth, the topic of health. How do
Hmm.
you maintain that consistent knowing and that consistent faith of this is for me and I either already have it or I'm going to have it no matter what anyone says, no matter what it looks like right now,
Hmm.
it's mine. And
Hmm.
how do you carry that not just from day to day, but really from minute to minute? I think that's
Hmm.
something I'm working on and I would love to hear what both of you have to say.
What a great question. Sharon, you want to take a stab first?
Sure. So I would say there are some base level things that I absolutely know, and my belief in that doesn't waver. These are things I've come to know over many years, the wisdom principles I like to talk about.
Mm.
So things like I believe in there's a larger consciousness that we're all a part of. So that's an unshakable knowing that lives in me. And then there is the everyday life that involves family and friends and work and relationship and all the rest of it, right? And especially in certain areas, if things aren't going well or I'm wanting a change or a shift or something, I don't know a person out there who doesn't have their faith in their belief dashed at some moments. I
Mhm.
think the task is not to 100% have to be have faith, but to know how to get ourselves back to
Mhm.
this place of really being centered in who we are and feeling I have everything I need in this moment. That's pure presence, that's pure awareness. It's the ability to witness ourselves when we're in that place of oh, I've lost belief and now I have tools and I Chris and I talk a lot about these tools that every single person gets to customize for themselves, right? Whether it's some deep breathing or meditation or accessing Chris's cheat codes, whatever it might be, coming on Clubhouse and asking a question
Mm.
and dropping in to be one with the true you. And that's our place of deep knowing. It's not being up in the ego space of why don't I have this money or this job or this whatever it is. That's ego stuff where every single person alive, me for sure included, has belief in those things dashed at certain points and I have to bring myself back. But it's bringing myself back to that deeper level of knowing of my truth, of the core essence of who I am. That's the
Mm.
place that like Eckhart Tolle talks about in the power of now, where we are fully in this present moment. I can feel the perfection in that there's nothing missing. So I think for me, this is the key to bring ourselves back.
Mm.
Yeah.
I love
I'm in
that. How
that
does it?
moment now. I really feel that. I think kind of going back to what we were talking about last night on Clubhouse, Sharon, is what trips me up is purpose. I think I tend to have this
Purpose.
with okay, I need to know what the purpose is. What is the purpose, of any given activity of my life? And I really tend to get stuck when I do an activity sometimes that doesn't seem like it has a clear, defined purpose. And right now, for example, I'm sitting on my patio and I've put on my little summer shorts and I'm just getting some vitamin D and I'm like, what if that's my purpose? What if my purpose isn't to figure out what is my purpose for the rest of my life? What if my purpose is just to figure out, hey, I want to go outside and I want to sit there
Mhm.
and breathe fresh air. And when I did that today, I really felt like there's nothing to figure out. And I feel that right now, right? But I want to feel that
That's
all.
the magic. You were able to bring the magic in. That's how you did that. Good
You're
for
Yeah.
doing it
you.
when you're not even knowing you're doing it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I can give
Yeah.
you the logical. I think you're onto it, which is that the purpose, I think, is ultimately to listen to yourself and follow your own emotional guidance on what your heart actually cares about in this world. And sometimes that's just going outside and sitting and enjoying a nice sunny day. But the logical reason why that's so good and why you're doing it naturally, and that's another thing, another like little cheat code, is we do this naturally. I manifested my job on Conan, which was my childhood dream job, before I even knew what the word manifesting meant. I didn't even know what the concept was. I was just naturally doing it. And so and so here's how I kind of look at this. When whatever your dreams are, Alina, whatever your goals happen to be, just think about the logic of how ultimately when you get anything, like you could even use an example of something you've already manifested for yourself, whether it's the apartment you live in, whether it's some friendships you have, whether it's some whatever feels good to you that you're proud of having in your life in some way, or that you appreciate having in your life in some way. You can look back and see that it was ultimately a series of ideas that you had that got you there. It was a series of ideas about what to do, what to say, what to try, what to research, who to talk to, what to say,
Yeah.
like just that that's all it was. And so the logic here is, if you can do things that make you happy every day, if you could prioritize your happiness, if you can follow your heart, follow your fun, follow your excitement, do things that you're passionate about, do things that bring you joy and bring you excitement, what that's doing is, it's every time you make a decision like that, including sitting out in the sun just to enjoy the day, you're literally making a choice from your heart that feels good. And so you're going to be floating in perfect headspaces to think of that perfect series of ideas that will help get you wherever it is that you want to go. So something that helps with my belief in manifesting things in my life is knowing that, oh, as long as I continue to follow my heart and do what makes me happy, I'm going to be thinking well. My mind is going to be in a great place to keep thinking. And thinking is going to help me come up with inspiration and come up with good ideas and come up with creativity and use my imagination and put two and two together and notice things out in my daily life that can help me, and spot opportunities when they present themselves, and then jump on those opportunities when they present themselves because I feel ready and I feel good about it. And so all of those things will logically result and manifest in real life, like concrete things and experiences and connections and people and jobs and all kinds of things. And so it's easy to start believing it. There are going to be moments when you don't. Like we're all in negative headspaces sometimes, and in those spaces, even as logical as my brain works, if I'm not feeling good, if I'm feeling down, if I'm feeling insecure, if I'm feeling scared, I can't access that either. That belief either. Everything becomes very clouded and like warped in my head. But as Sharon was saying, you can always get back to yourself, get back into alignment with who you are. And when you do, it's easy to start believing in yourself because, again, like, do things that line up with your heart, and you will be thinking so clearly and be operating so on such good wavelengths, mental wavelengths, that it will logically lead you to wherever you want to go. Does that sort of resonate with you?
Yes, it does. And I want to do it more, like
Mm-hmm.
I say, and I think I just want to know how to be like really accountable to myself to feel good, because I'm not gonna lie, I've had thought patterns for some amount of time where I wasn't feeling good, and I kept making that choice, right? And recently I feel like I've been making a different choice, but then still sometimes falling behind. But I noticed,
There's no behind. Can I just say that? Because
yeah,
there's no competition, there's no race,
yeah,
right? You take all the time in the world. I mean, this is the thing about feeling spacious and expanded. Then we know we're really moving in that direction. That's how that feels. Whenever we feel tight and constricted and there's not enough time or energy or whatever it is, then we're in the space of not having, of lack. And it's hard to let the floodgates are kind of closed. We want to open the floodgates and feel, oh, I have plenty.
Mm-hmm.
So it just subtle shifts like that are really meaningful. Small things make a big difference. It doesn't have to be some huge change overnight. You know, if you just catch yourself in those little moments and you make a little tweak in your thought, oh yeah, that's right. There's no competition here. I'm not behind. I'm right on time for me because Alina, there's nobody else in the universe like you. You're a unique being throughout
That's right.
all time. There never will be anybody like you again. So why would your path look the same as anybody else's? That's true for all of us.
Yeah. I love that you first named me there. It really felt so much more real. Thank you.
Okay, good.
I love that because, sometimes I'm listening, but then you tend to like space out. I was listening to everything, I promise. But sometimes you're just like, you get carried away and thoughts and thoughts. And then when somebody says, Alina, I'm like, yes, I'm right here. I'm right
Well, okay.
here.
So I have a question for you, Alina, and this is actually a question for you too, Chris. I shared a story a few minutes ago about just this effortless manifesting, right, for a job.
Oh
So
no, are you going to test us?
No.
Okay.
No test, no test. No, I just wonder if either of you can recall a time in your life where you effortlessly manifested something, whether it was big or small.
Yes,
Alina?
I have one that just happened. I was traveling and something was going on. I won't get too much into the details, but I was like, oh, you know what? I so feel better right now. It would be so great if I felt better. And I went to sleep thinking help is on the way. Like it was just this affirmation that I said in my mind. I said help is on the way, and I believed it, right? And
Mhm.
I think that that is where my question came in today. I really believed it, and I noticed that. I was like I had no problem believing that, on this night. And then I went to a different location. We switched locations and went to a new Airbnb. And then I met this woman, and I just like, we opened up to each other, and she sent me this book called like Forbidden Cures that's not even sold in the US. And I was like, holy shit, I think that's the hell. Oh, excuse my language, but I was like,
No,
holy
that's what
shit,
we,
was this
yeah.
the hell on the way? You know?
I love how you apologize and then said it again. I love it.
I do that. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah,
That's
and
a great
now
example.
reading this
That's a
book.
great example.
Yeah, and I feel like it's making me make changes in my life, just with things that like I've always kind of known to be true, but they've never been described to me in the way that this book describes them. And it makes me like want to do these simple things, like get out and get some sunlight for X amount of time a day. It's like it talks about
Mm.
like vitamin D and all this stuff, and it's like no one taught us in school why vitamin D was actually really that important for our body and our nervous system. And I just feel like I'm really enjoying this content. And I really think that I manifested this PDF book and this connection and this beautiful human being's story being shared with me.
Okay, so beautiful. That's a reference point for you to come back to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
sometimes you could keep a list or make a little recording for yourself of the time, all the things you've manifested. And there's been a lot because you've shared a lot of manifestations of different things. So it's good sometimes, I think, when we forget to remind ourselves. That's why I asked, is because then we have our own internal point of reference.
I
And
love
do
that.
you have anything to add to that, Chris?
Yeah, I can give you another quick manifestation, Alina, if you want. I'm doing a program. I'm testing it out, and it's an EQ program to teach people the like to how to get a rock solid foundation of emotional intelligence. And if you are interested, I would happily take you on for free just to test out this program for me. If you're interested in that, then you just manifested that.
I love that, Chris. This is amazing. As soon as you brought it up, I was immediately like in my soul. I was like, yes. Waiting for the
Great.
right
There
time.
you go. You heard it here. Instant manifesting.
Instant
I love
manifesting.
it.
We
Yeah.
ran into each other. I honestly, here's the reason I suggest that. And I'm specifically asking you because you talk like you're someone who's like right on the verge. Like you understand things. You really want change. I can tell the way how the vibe in your words and your language that you're ready, but you just don't have all the tools necessarily. And that is something that I can help with. So let's talk offline. And then in like a month, I mean, come back however often you want, but in a month, let's talk, like come back on the show and let's talk about how that how that changed anything for you.
I'm so grateful.
Nice.
Really looking forward to it. Thank you, Chris.
That's
Oh,
so
you're
great.
welcome.
Lena, thank you for coming and asking your question. We're going a little bit shorter today, so we're kind of getting into wrap-up mode now. So
Yes.
yeah. So I'm just wondering, Alina, do you feel complete around your question or is there more?
I do. I feel complete. I'm sitting outside. I'm looking at beautiful people on a phone screen. My bank account hasn't changed, but my heart has.
Oh, well,
That is
honestly, that's
the
the first step. That is the first step.
Yeah, and that's the most important account is this
Yeah.
That's
heart
right.
account. Yeah.
That's right.
So thank
That's
you for being here for these beautiful heart changes.
Oh, thank you for coming. Thank you for being part of it. It wouldn't be a thing if not for the other people that are here watching and commenting and sharing. So thank you. I want to get to a couple of the like last minute things that people are writing. Sakina wrote, how do I get out of the headspace that I'm in when I'm stuck in my mind and with how I want things to go with what I want? Thank you for answering my question. So how do you get stuck let's give a really short like how do you get stuck how do you get out of being stuck in a let's say a negative headspace, Sharon? Your thoughts?
My quickest, easiest way is that I move my attention down into my belly and I just follow my breath for a few breaths and notice just the rhythm of my breath. Bring
Mm,
all of my focus and attention there. Now I'm out of my head. That's the
mm.
quickest way I know.
Oh, and I love that. And I'll just say the quickest way I know is to prioritize your happiness. Do whatever in the moment your heart is calling for, whether that is stepping outside like Alina did, taking a walk, like making yourself your favorite coffee or your tea, or watching a show that you know is like gets you in a good mood, like just following your moment to moment enjoyment of like what would be enjoyable right now for me. You follow that, you're going to get into a different kind of headspace. I also want to get to Yoni. She said, not just the brain, but I'm going to say neurotransmitters and receivers are also in the heart and gut, which
Mhm.
implies we have not one brain, but three, which is
Yes.
very cool. I've heard this. I've heard we had,
Yeah.
uh, I'm not a science dude, but like I heard we had like neurons in our gut. Like I've heard that before.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I think there's a lot about the human body that we just have no idea yet, and we're still discovering. So
And a
that's
lot's
something to keep
being
in mind.
yeah, a lot's being studied. So the Heart Math Institute is one place that's studying the intelligence that resides in the heart. It's fascinating.
Mm.
And there is a new film that's going to be coming out about it. So I can't talk about it because I got to see an advanced screening and
Oh,
it's
cool.
not,
Fun.
it's going to have a premiere at a festival and then get a release. But
You'll tell us when it's out.
I hope to tell you more. Yeah,
Okay.
when I learn that it's out, but it is incredible the research that's going on in this area right now. So thanks for bringing that up,
That's
Yoni.
exciting.
Yeah.
Cool. And then Sharon, people can find you at SharonHoffmanLiving.com.
Yes. Check out my website. It's got all my offerings, including how to participate in Clubhouse, the talk show I've hosted twice a week for 3 years. And I am also a speaker in person, as well as doing one-on-one calls with people who want that. So yeah, check out my website. And I'm also writing, I just published an article today. So if you go to my social media, I'll be posting that. And that's a feel good watch list. Remember, Chris, we talked about watch
Oh, hell
lists.
yeah. I love
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Great.
And
Uh,
where can people find you?
Yes, my website, chrisnews.com. I help people understand their emotions. I'm telling you, they're the key to life. They're the secret. They affect everything you say, everything you do, everything you think, how you interpret the world, how you put what you put out into the world, the impressions you have on other people. Literally every waking moment of your life is filtered through your emotions. So if you understand them, you can change your life in any area you want, in any way you want, manifest the dreams you want, the happiness you want, the confidence you want, whatever it is. It's through your emotions. So I teach people how to understand them better. So if you want to learn more, I have an EQ newsletter. You can learn about your emotional intelligence by email each day, a little like tidbit that allows you to understand yourself a little better, how to listen to yourself. And I also do coaching on that. Alina, you will be doing with me soon. So look out for that on my website too, but chrisnewt.com.
Awesome.
Oh, this was a great week, Sharon. We're cutting it short today, but we'll be back next week
We
with
will.
more.
And thanks again, Alina, for joining us
And
today.
thanks, Alina.
And Yoni and Sakina for tuning in and putting stuff in the chat. Everybody's welcome to put stuff in the chat.
Yes.
Or come up here with us. Yeah.
And thank you, Yoni, and thank you, Sakina, for joining us today. Okay, are we set? I think that's it.
We're officially done. Any
Great
parting word, Alina?
Beautiful, just beautiful.
Wow. I second that. Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right. Bye. Bye, guys. See you next